The last question I want to ask you is realistic end goal versus the optimal end goal. What do you think is the glass ceiling that USL Championship is going to break through? And then what do you think is really going to happen? Make our little prediction here.
I don't even see a glass ceiling where they dip into MLS's pool at all, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I almost feel like glass ceiling is that they stay afloat. They continue to exist. That seems kind of, I know it sounds kind of harsh, but I don't see promotion relegation skyrocketing the popularity of this league. Maybe it's a good opportunity to kind of build up some more young players, maybe get some more development there,
Mm-hmm.
kind of watch guys from lower league teams build up and get a little bit more publicity, I guess, as they get to like USL Championship. Um, I think realistically, I like the move if they were to do it. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's something different. I think if they continued to do the same thing that they were doing, they would make no progress towards closing that gap between MLS as MLS continues to grow the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing in Leo Messi just stretched the gap like 8 times more than it already was. Uh, so they definitely needed to try something different. I can definitely appreciate that they're looking into this. I don't think it's a bad idea. I would definitely support it if they did it. I think realistically, it's not going to hurt MLS in the slightest, but I do think it could get some more people to watch USL. So I think it's a good thing for them. I support it. I hope it goes well for them. I would hope it closes the gap. I think more competition is better for everybody, most likely. Um, so I think glass ceiling, I guess, then in that case, maybe they start to attract a couple of bigger names that are kind of winding down and get them to their league. I think that would be a great starting point for them.
I like a lot of what you said there. I think I've got actually got three tiers here.
Mm-hmm.
First off, USL obviously the glass ceiling they skyrocket. They gain enough fans, their merch sales go up. They retain those fans because everybody's gonna, as usually, what happens is everybody's gonna lose their mind over year one numbers. Look at the impact it made, and then 5 years on, when it drops 30%, nobody's gonna mention things, right? If they can retain that and everything else that comes with this implementation, they open up their roster rules, they build proper infrastructure. We're still looking at half of the teams in the top division of USL playing in rented baseball stadiums. So you're able to build proper infrastructure, which is it's starting. I'm not saying it's not starting. I've seen it, but they're still getting there. They need to grow their footprint in the game. Then they get closer to MLS valuation, and you can maybe work on the idea of bringing it all together. That is optimal. Realistically, I think the positive realism out of this, like you mentioned, is that they survive, they gain a little bit of traction, and they show that they are a proper second division, right? I just mentioned the infrastructure. The infrastructure needs to be better. Player purchases, right? I mean, the second division in a lot of countries is not known for the biggest stars, but they can still go out and move things around. They're starting to sell people off, which is great. Josh Widener is one of those examples. But to be able to then bring players in would be really, really good too. I don't believe it ever jumps to that point. And if it does, I don't want to know where we're going to go from that because you are basically restarting from zero. That being said, the realistic one that I see happening is that year one, everything's up here. Pro Rel for USA crowd is standing on their high horse. Big smile, look at me. Then the numbers come out in year two. They look like crap. And then they start complaining about how it's not real pro rel and it never really was going to work anyway. And it's MLS's fault somehow. And US soccer needs to be burned to the ground. Um, it's nothing about the fact that they couldn't pull actual fans, but it's somebody else's fault. Uh, I don't think the whole thing goes under. I think the league still survives, but it'll make a minimal blip to the U.S. soccer landscape. Um, I mean, look at it. Even before this was all put together, the second it gets announced, half of pro rel Twitter, who had been championing it for years, is then complaining because it's not a real pro rel system, uh, or it's not fair, it's not open. You know, excuses, excuses, excuses for something that they had been championing for the last 5 years. But here's the closing point from me, right? You now have a pro rel system, and this is, for those who are in support of this system, your system is coming. Hopefully, if they pass this vote and they put it all together, whatever, go support it. Go find your local USL club, even if it's 2 hours away, like we were just talking about. Go get season tickets. Go buy merch. Go bring your friends to the game. Go get them involved. Go become part of the supporter section. Do all of you want all this to work? Now is your chance. There are no more excuses. You have your opportunity. You have the opportunity to show what it is. Go get it done. Now, would that be kind of sad? Because that's not the right word. Um, I don't know. It would feel kind of hard done because, as I mentioned earlier, if your team was there already and you're only going to go now because there's a slight chance of going up, that kind of feels disingenuous.
Yeah, it's artificial.
Yeah, yeah, and that kind of, yeah, whatever. Um, but at the end of the day, and I will end with this on this topic. I don't quite care if it how it gets there if it does work. If it ends up working, I'm all for it. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to see the game grow, not in MLS, not in USL, in the country. So I don't care if this is the right way forward, the wrong way forward. It doesn't matter to me. What I want to see is growth. So if it works, great. I'm here. I'll support it. I'll be happy for it. If it doesn't work, we're going to go back MLS. It doesn't matter. And guess what? Football is football. Soccer is soccer. You don't need to have it exactly the same way to watch it. I can watch my Premier League side lose 6-0 on a Saturday morning, come back and watch Red Bull lose 7-0 on a Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday afternoon go watch Lexington FC or Lexington FC. I'm using the old club term. Lexington FC playing USL Championship with one or two decent players, and the rest of them are semi-pros, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the game. I don't care whether they can move up, move down. I'm here to watch the game. I'm enjoying it. I watch high school level games when I'm recruiting. I watch college level games when I'm scouting, and I'm watching all over the place. That's how the game makes it. Game doesn't make it because like, oh, I'm going to support these guys. If they can get to the second division, maybe I'll support them a little more. But if they get to the first division, oh, I'm all for it. That's as you mentioned, it's artificial. It's disingenuous. But if you can get behind it and get involved with it, and it works, I don't care if it's disingenuous now because it might be genuine later.